In almost all cases, there is a bit of risk during pregnancy, even in the best of times. However, that risk rises when you give birth to more than one baby at a time. When Cynthia and her husband got pregnant, she had high hopes that her baby would be healthy, but she was soon informed that not only would she be having a baby, but she would actually be having 3. As the birth occurred, the father of the children was not present, and soon after the babies were born, the doctor had some unsettling news. What did he tell her? Where was the father? As soon as Cynthia found out that she would have triplets, she became concerned about the birth. She knew that she would have pain during the process, but her entire life would completely change. The triplets were all born in a matter of hours, and as soon as delivery occurred, they were rushed away for tests before Cynthia could see them. It is common with multiples for this to happen, but what wasn't normal was the look on the doctor's face. Cynthia and her husband Johnny were a popular couple who were highly admired. They had been dating since high school, they went away for college, and were married soon after they graduated. In total, they had been together for 10 years, and they had a young daughter, Naomi. Their sweet little girl was just 3 years old, but she had recently started going to preschool. Like other kids in her class, Naomi wanted something really badly, a younger brother or sister. Naomi was so focused on getting a sibling that she would even pretend that her dolls were her little sister or little brother. In addition to this, she would tell her parents she wanted a brother or sister at least once or twice a day. After hearing the pleas of Naomi, Johnny and Cynthia finally make a choice. They will not try to prevent pregnancy, and if the universe was going to give them a baby, they would take it. A few months went by without getting pregnant, and the family of 3 continued to live their lives. However, there seemed to be a black cloud overhead, as something wasn't right in the relationship. Cynthia wasn't happy. Something was off between Johnny and her, and she no longer felt the same about him. However, she wasn't quite sure that she wanted a divorce. Instead, she started enjoying the company of a couple of men from her job. As Cynthia processed those feelings, another one came over her, too: nausea. She felt achy and weak and constantly seemed on the verge of vomiting. The stomach flu was going around, so she made an appointment with her doctor. When she got to the appointment, she told the doctor about her symptoms, but he didn't believe it was the flu. Instead, he asked her if she would take a pregnancy test. She did and then waited for the results. At this point, because of her relationship woes, Cynthia was hoping that she wasn't pregnant. After all, she was really leaning towards leaving Johnny, and she didn't want to bring another child into it. However, the doctor confirmed it. She was pregnant, and after an ultrasound, she knew she was pregnant with 3. It was not Cynthia's plan to get into this situation. Her marriage was falling apart. She didn't want to stay in the relationship, and now she was expecting triplets. After her appointment, Cynthia went home, but she had no idea what she could do. Should she tell Johnny that she was thinking about leaving him? Should she pretend like everything is fine and just try to make it through? She had no idea. Cynthia knew that the right choice was to be honest with Johnny. So, when he got home from work, she asked him to sit down, and she broke the news that they were expecting triplets. He was ecstatic, but then she told him something more. She wasn't happy with him. After hearing what his wife had to say, Johnny said that he wanted to try to work things out. He said they should try to improve the relationship for the sake of their children. However, Cynthia had one more thing to tell him. Cynthia told Johnny that she had been involved with a man from work, and she had been seeing him for a few months. She secretly hoped that he would learn this and realize that she didn't want to be in the relationship. Even though they had babies on the way, Johnny agreed that a divorce was the right thing to do. They fought for custody over Naomi, but since the triplets were not yet born, there was nothing to fight over. They would have to wait. In the meantime, Cynthia got full custody of Naomi. Though Cynthia had gotten what she wanted in regard to a divorce, there was something making her nervous. She had gotten full custody of Naomi, but her lawyer informed her that she may not get custody of the triplets. One reason she may not get custody of the triplets came down to finances. Cynthia knew that Johnny had a good job and that he would certainly be able to support the triplets. The man Cynthia was now dating, Eric, didn't make as much as Johnny either, so she couldn't rely on him. Did she make a mistake? As each month passed, Cynthia just felt stuck. Cynthia's due date was coming up quickly, and one day she felt strange. They took Naomi to Johnny, and then Eric took Cynthia to the hospital to get checked out. Cynthia was in full-blown labor. Eric was by her side, and soon Johnny and Naomi had arrived. It had to be awkward for both Johnny and Eric to be in the same room, as Cynthia prepared to give birth. Giving birth to triplets is difficult, and as soon as the babies were born, the nurses immediately took them away for tests. No one could see them, not even Cynthia and Johnny. Eric was curious to see the babies, too. As time passed, Cynthia got more worried. She still hadn't seen the babies, and she kept asking to see the doctor. When he walked in, he had a concerned look on his face. The doctor started speaking and said the babies were healthy and safe, but there was something that he needed to tell her, and he wanted to make sure that she understood what he was about to say. The doctor explained that Cynthia could meet her babies, but there was something he needed to say. He asked her if she knew where Johnny was because he had to talk to him. This left Cynthia a moment with her new children. As Cynthia began to bond with her babies, Johnny and the doctor walked back into the room. Johnny was crying and looking down at the ground. The doctor started to talk. The doctor dropped a bombshell. Johnny was not the father of Cynthia's triplets. He explained that the nurse caring for the triplets noticed immediately that all three of them greatly resembled Eric, not Johnny. Based on those preliminary observations, it looked like Johnny was not the father of the triplets. They'd all noted the resemblance between Eric and the babies. They had to get the final test results in, but it didn't look good for Johnny. The truth came out quickly. Eric was the father of the babies, not Johnny. Cynthia was so relieved. She no longer had to worry that Johnny would take the babies, and she already had custody of Naomi. Since Johnny didn't have any reason to stay, he left the hospital. He called his lawyer to let him know that the custody case would not be going on. Eric was finally free to meet his children. This was the best-case scenario for Cynthia and her children. She loved Eric greatly, and now they had a full-blown family. Cynthia finally got the happy ending that she wanted. Soon after the triplets were born, Eric got a much better job, and she could eventually go back to work, too. Naomi got to see both of her parents, and Johnny couldn't take the babies.